Good afternoon, friends. Welcome back to my channel. We have completed one novel successfully in the series of video lectures, that is The Great Gatsby, written by American novelist F. Scott Fitzgerald. Today I will be starting with a new topic, new text for study, that is Abhijnana Shakuntala. So we will be studying this Nataka or drama in a series of lectures, video lectures. First I will deal with background to this particular drama, and before that I will also speak in brief about Indian theatre, the basic concepts and principles of Indian drama, and then we will be speaking about the major component of the play, that is romanticism, and after that we will look at the text of the drama and analyze the acts, characters, story and the other things related to the drama. Before we actually delve into the text, Abhijnana Shakuntala, written by the most famous Indian poet called as Kaviratna, none other than Kalidasa, we have to understand some basic principles of Indian dramaturgy. See, we have to remember one thing, that Indian drama has its own history. When it comes to modern Indian drama, there are certain changes which have been influenced because of the Western drama. But if we look at classical Indian drama, it is absolutely different from the Greek ancient dramas. The Greek theatre, which was very famous in European tradition, it carries its traits from the ancient Greek drama. May it be Shakespeare or any other European dramatist, he takes his traditional roots from the ancient Greek drama. And we have this man Aristotle, who said a lot of things about Greek drama, and then he calls tragedy as the greatest form of art. But in India, the concept of drama has been totally different. When we look at the classical Indian theatre, we have lots of playwrights in our history, especially those who are from the Sanskrit tradition, like Bhasa, and then Kalidasa, of course, Vishakadatta. These were the prominent dramatists, or rather playwrights, who wrote dramas in the ancient Indian times. And most of their stories were based on either Ramayana or Mahabharata. Of course, they had their own modifications which were required for the process of making it into a drama. So we need to be aware of this fact, that whenever there is a conversion of form, there are some adaptations made. Recently, I watched a film which is based on the novel Betta the Jiva. So in this film, there have been some modifications made which are not there found in the original text. But we can't say that the film is bad or film is not accurate. It depends on the director and the producer. They want to add their own element, make some modifications which appeal to the audience of that particular generation. And the writer in his original book has written from his own perspective. So we need to be very much aware of this fact, that there are always possibilities for modifications, and there is a lot of scope for modification of the original story. Of course, the story cannot be completely modified. The main characters remain almost the same, but the course of action takes some modifications, some turns in between. Okay, and that depends on the interest of the audience, that depends on the mood of the writer who is writing the drama. So it depends on many other things. If it is a film, it depends also on the producer who is making that film. The ideologies which work in the mind of the producer and the director also come into the action there. So basically we need to understand this fact that modifications are possible when a novel, a story is converted into action, which will be performed either in the form of a film or on the stage in the form of a drama. So yes, coming back to the ancient Indian tradition of drama, we have to remember this major difference between Greek classical drama and Indian classical drama. The Western, or rather the Greek classical drama, gave a lot of importance to the tragedies, whereas it is totally opposite in Indian drama. If you look at all the classical Indian dramas, most of them are either comedies or love stories. And even though there are love stories, those are happy ending stories. How is this difference possible? Because the mindset and the theory working behind this theatre in Europe is different, and in India it is totally different. So Indian drama, Indian theatre took its basic principles from the book called Natya Shastra, written by ancient scholar Bharata Muni. So he comes with these principles, saying that you should never show tragedy or bloodshed or death on the stage. What might be the reason? But in fact it is exactly the opposite when we look at the Western drama. If you take Shakespeare's plays, there is a lot of violence, there is a lot of bloodshed, there is murder, there is death happening on the stage. But in Indian dramas, I am not speaking about the modern Indian dramas, but the classical dramas, most of the plays were symbolic when it came to the topic of death. They did not show the death on stage, and most of them were happy ending stories. Even though the original story might be a sad ending one, but they modified it so that it will be happy ending, at least on the stage. So this is one basic principle on which Indian drama, Indian classical drama has been working. Maranam naiva darshayet. That is, you should never show the death on the stage. There are reasons for this. One, their playwrights in the ancient times believed that people come for entertainment. When people come for entertainment, they should not be disturbed emotionally. That is one reason. And then the other reason is there is a lot of negativity happening around, and in that, if we show it again on the screen, there will be no fun or there will be no joy among the audience. So you better show the positive sides on the stage because there are ideal characters. Exactly opposite is the Western theatre. I am not blaming Western theatre, but I am just trying to differentiate between the characteristics of both. So you look at Hamlet, Shakespeare's drama Hamlet, where Hamlet is a very ideal young man, but because of one mistake, he ends up in a doom. So there is one ideal character. For example, another example is Macbeth or King Lear. All of these are great characters on their own, but ultimately they end up in a tragedy. So what message does it give there? Whether idealism is good or bad. So that comes as a question there. Of course, there is a concept called a tragic flaw. All the characters, all the humans cannot be 100% perfect, and there is one mistake in every character. That is what they called as tragic flaw. And Aristotle tells about these things in detail in his book Poetics. But whereas when we look at the Indian drama, the characters are heroic, they are valorous, courageous, they are royal, and if you show the death or doom of such characters, then there is a doubt in the mind of the audience. Is this the fate of a king? Is this the fate of an ideal man? Then what about the common people? So in a way, it is like disappointment for the audience to see the death of their ideal hero. So this was the most important principle on which classical Indian drama had focused. And we can see its effect even to this day. You look at the Hollywood movies and look at Bollywood movies. In Hollywood, they show the reality. They show the violence on screen. They show gruesome murders and deaths on screen. And they don't, they don't give much emotional appeal to that. But on the other side, when we see Indian movies, 90% of the Indian movies end happily. They show happy ending. They show that the hero and heroine unite at the end. However much trouble they might have faced, however much the villain has troubled them, but ultimately they will win the battle and they will unite. So it is happy ending most of the times. And we usually never accept the sad ending movies very easily. Let me take an example. How many of us liked the movie Ghajini? Of course, it's a good movie and it is the story of a revenge. But the way murder has been shown there, it does not appeal to us. Killing the hero or killing the heroine does not somewhere appeal to us, appeal to our emotions. That is why we don't usually love sad ending movies. And this is the reason behind this. All the Indian theatre from the classical times has focused on this principle, never to show violence or never to show at least the death of the hero on the screen. So, in ancient Indian drama, importance was given to idealism and then comedy, light humor and heroic narratives. So these are important and not the tragic end of a hero. So this is one basic difference between the Western and the Indian theatre. Now coming to the stories on which Indian theatre was built up. Mostly, if we look at Indian classical theatre, it mostly consisted of Sanskrit plays. So these plays took their stories from the two epics, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. Mostly. And some of them were also based on the Puranic stories. So these are the things we need to understand before we actually study the play written by Kalidasa, who is called as India's Shakespeare. So we need to understand these key factors of ancient Indian drama. So the tradition continued and drama became popular even in the other regional languages of India, and it took varieties of forms. There are plentiful forms of drama in India today. Modern Indian drama is different. I am not speaking about modern Indian drama right now. I am talking about the tradition of drama in Indian regional languages. So there came lots of regional varieties of drama. If we look in Karnataka, we have varieties of forms like Yakshagana, it is one, Doddata, Sannata, Bayalata. These are the forms of drama in in Karnataka. These are traditional, these are folk forms of drama. If we go to northern India, they have a form called Ras Leela. That is also a form of drama, they call it. Then they have another form of drama called Nautanki. So there are lots of varieties of local forms of drama which are sometimes totally based on the folk elements, sometimes they are based on the traditional stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata, sometimes they are even not written at all, sometimes they are just orally transmitted from generation to generation. So these are the things about Indian drama in brief. I have not explained everything in detail, but I have just tried to give you a picture, rough idea of how Indian theatre is or how Indian theatre has been. Then we have to also look at the concept of rasas, or that if we translate it into English, it's called as the expression of emotions. So rasas played a great role in the action of the dramas. We have 9 rasas. There are rasas like Shrungara, Hasya, Veera, Bhayankara, Bibhatsa, so many Karuna rasas. So there are 9 rasas in total, and these work in combination in different dramas. So even the concept of rasa was given by Bharata Muni in his work, great work, Natya Shastra. So with this background, we will have to look at the drama that we are going to study. So I hope you have understood the I hope you have been able to grasp a general picture of ancient Indian drama. Regarding the modern Indian drama, I will be discussing when I discuss the another play that we have, that is Ghanshiram Kotwal, and at that point of time I will give you a rough picture of Indian drama in the modern times. So for now, since we are studying a classical drama written in Sanskrit, Abhijnana Shakuntala, we need to understand about ancient Indian dramatic tradition, and that is what I have tried to give in this lecture. Thank you very much.